I want to talk a little bit about MOSAIC, particularly as it relates to the new sports pilot certificate and some of the changes that happened there.
Super Cub, you think you can give me an estimate on the bases there at Laconia?
Would you say that again? Very calm day today. No wind. Clouds about 10,500. We get some weather coming in. Hopefully it'll be rain today, later on today, as we need it really badly. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, holding short of 26 for that inbound Pilatus on runway 8 Laconia. Okay, we have a Pilatus on short final here, so we're going to let him land and clear. So it's been about 4.5, 5 weeks since I've actually gone out and flying this Cub. Just was in Alaska for 2 weeks, and then about 3 weeks I had lots of flight instruction, just didn't have time to get out my own plane. I'm going out today, going to do some landing practice initially, and then I'm going to go out, fly over the lake, check if the water levels. Been no rain for over a month. I'm going to talk about MOSAIC, particularly the sports pilot certificate. The FAA announced its new rules and going into effect in July. Well, actually they're being phased in over the next 25, 26. But the new rules come into effect for the sports pilot certificate, I believe October of 2025. So had some people calling me about those new sports pilot rules and maybe getting their sports pilot's license. I want to talk about that a little bit. Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, departing runway 26, close traffic, Laconia. All right, mixture's rich. Primer's in the lock. Carburetor's off. Gas is where I want it. All right, here we go. Those clouds are getting lower than that 10,500 that they just gave for their observations.
Super Cub, you think you can give me an estimate on the bases there at Laconia?
Would you say that again?
You think you could give me an estimate on the cloud bases there?
Yeah, I'm going to say there's Scud at around 2,000 feet.
Roger, General Tango, thank you. Laconia traffic, Navy on 250, Tango's 8 miles to the southwest. We're going to be entering a left downwind for 26.
Laconia traffic, Super Cub 816 Whiskey Romeo, turning left base for 26, stop and go, Laconia. Now we'll try to 3-point it, hold it off, hold it off. Flared a little bit high, but not too bad.
Laconia traffic, Navy on 250, Tango's 3 miles to southwest, entering on the 45 for the left downwind 26.
There's B5, engine gauge is green. There we go. Alrighty, we'll hold 70 through the turn. Put that second notch of flaps in, 4 degrees of flaps. We'll turn that car beat off at this point. Now just bring some power back and just skip the forward slip this time to see what we can do with what we got. Just trying to hold 60. Feel like I'm just floating down. All right, a little bit of power just to arrest that descent. myself just a little bit lower here when I hold it off, hold it, pull, 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 pull. All right, hold it off. Hold it, hold it. There we go. I think we're going to stay in the pattern. These clouds continue to drop. Looks like it's clear just beyond out over the lake, but I'm going to just stay in pattern for now. A little bit firm. Dancing on those rudder pedals there. All right, we have a minute to wait here, so I just wanted to basically talk briefly about MOSAIC and the new FAA rules that are coming out on that. They're being phased in over the next year and a half or so. I've been getting some phone calls about the sports pilot certificate. I'm just going to say I have some reservations instructing students for a sports pilot certificate. They only require 20 hours of flight time, 15 hours of instruction, only 10 takeoff and landings. To me, that's kind of woefully inadequate to make sure that the person I solo, let loose to a DP, safe and ready for a check ride. So I'm very hesitant on that. Number two, the other concern I have is I feel like if you really want to use that sports pilot certificate and fly at night or go longer distances or fly into Class Bravo, Charlie Delta airspace, you need additional endorsements. So to me, you can spend all that time getting all those additional endorsements, and by the time you get them all done, you still have a sports pilot certificate with a bunch of endorsements that still keep you limited to one person. That's two of my main concerns. Another concern I have is that the light sport aircraft is going to be expanded to effectively allow aircraft such as a Viper Warrior, Cherokee, Skyhawk, any aircraft that doesn't stall above 61 knots in a dirty configuration to basically automatically qualify as a light sport aircraft. And I'm not sure how other FBOs are going to look at this, but having a person that has 20, maybe 30 hours of total flight time flying light sport aircraft and now going to jump into a Piper Warrior or a Skyhawk, maybe with just a couple hours of exposure to that aircraft before they're signed off for a checkout, seems a little bit risky, and I'm curious what the insurance companies are going to say about that, having sports pilot certificate pilots jumping into these heavier aircraft. I will say one positive thing is that with the heavy aircraft, I think a sports pilot will have a little bit more stability flying that aircraft. The lighter the aircraft, the more susceptible it is to wind, updrafts, downdrafts, and you can have aircraft kind of go out of control quite easy when they're light sport if the weather's even slightly windy. So with these heavier airplanes that they'll be flying in, a Skyhawk or a Warrior, Cherokee, something to that effect, they won't have as much of that dynamic movement going on, so hopefully they'll be a little bit safer, not have to be as quickly as responsive to situations, let's say on a landing and you get a updraft or a gust hit you. But all that said, I still question what's the value in getting a sports pilot certificate and then taking all these incremental endorsements over the months and years ahead, so you can kind of have a little bit more like a private pilot certificate. You'd only be able to carry one person. In the end of the day, you'll spend a lot of money and you'll still only have a sports pilot certificate and be able to go out further and do a few other things, including night flight. But the question is, should you be doing it? Are you really safe? And then the last comment I have on this is that a sports pilot certificate doesn't require a medical. And you have to wonder, why is a person getting a sports pilot certificate? Because they're unable to get a medical? Or are they doing it for cost reasons? When it comes to flying and operating your own planes, it's expensive. Kind of shortchanging it probably will put you at risk. It might take safety concerns. If you have health issues that you think I can just get away with this with just a driver's license and taking some online course, may not be the smartest thing. Flying an airplane can be quite stressful. And so you need to think about all those things when you're considering getting a pilot's license. My recommendation is still go for the private pilot's license. It gives you the most training and experience and gives you the most opportunities to use the aircraft in all different types of applications with more people on board. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm sure people have other opinions or supportive of this opinion, but I'd like to hear what you have for responses or comments. Leave them in the comments below, and I'll look forward to hearing what you have to say. Anyways, hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel so you get notified of my next video.